Aidan Garza, 12, poses for a portrait at home in Converse, Texas, February 27, 2022. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Margaret Garza hugs her son Julius Garza, 14, in Converse, Texas, U.S. March 22, 2022. Margaret made sure that her sons had counseling after their dad died. "Our normal is not going to be like anyone else's, because we lost someone," she said. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Brothers Julius Garza, 14, and Aidan Garza, 12, say a prayer in honor of their father, David Garza, who died from the coronavirus in December 2020, while out to eat in Converse, Texas. Every month on the 30th, the Garza family commemorates the life of father and husband David, whose birthday was on April 30th and who died of COVID on December 30th. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, rests her head on her mother, Dr. Sandra McGowan Watts, at home in Madison, Illinois, March 16, 2022. McGowan Watts, whose husband Stephen Watts died in May 2020, has been trying to maintain as much of Justice's routine as possible. Last summer, when the bushes in her yard needed to be trimmed, Justice found her dad's hedge trimmers and got to work. "She does the things that he would do," Sandra says. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, pulls a baking sheet of cookies from the oven, a tradition she shared with her father, at home in Madison, Illinois. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Aidan Garza, 12, and his mother, Margaret Garza, watch television in Margaret's bedroom in Converse, Texas. No government program at any level is tracking American children such as Aidan and his big brother Julius, who have lost at least one primary caregiver to COVID, but researchers' estimates put the number at over 213,000 kids. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Julius Garza, 14, sits on his bed at home in Converse, Texas. Julius remembers more than his brother about what life was like before that day late in 2015 when Margaret and David adopted the boys. Their birth mother had abandoned them. Their birth father was sent to prison for abusing their stepsister, pushing them into the foster care system. Julius is struggling to understand losing David after all he went through. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Aidan Garza, 12, hugs the family dog while watching television at home in Converse, Texas. The boy peppers his conversations about his dad with the lessons he has learned from therapy, which he and his brother have received since their dad died, on how to confront his grief. In talking about his heart and how much he should be thinking about his dad, Aidan says, "We always got to save a little spot for him, and a big spot for emotions." Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, looks in a mirror while posing for a portrait, on her father's birthday, at home in Madison, Illinois. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, poses for a portrait at her mother, Dr. Sandra McGowan Watts' office in Flossmoor, Illinois. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, looks at her phone at home in Madison, Illinois. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Margaret Garza, Aidan Garza, 12, and Julius Garza, 14, sit down for dinner without husband and father David Garza, in Converse, Texas. Margaret made sure that her sons had counseling after their dad died. "Our normal is not going to be like anyone else's, because we lost someone," she said. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Dr. Sandra McGowan Watts and her daughter Justice McGowan, 13, take the family dog for a walk around the neighborhood in Madison, Illinois. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Margaret Garza and her son, Aidan, 12, watch a reptile at the San Antonio Zoo in San Antonio, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. A photograph of Margaret Garza and her husband, David Garza, hangs in Margaret's car during school drop-off, in Converse, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Margaret Garza applies makeup before going to work at the floral department at H-E-B, a locally based chain grocery store, in Converse, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, sits on the stairs, on the day of her father's birthday, at home in Madison, Illinois, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Aidan Garza, 12, shares a hug with his mother, Margaret Garza, at home in Converse, Texas. Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Julius, 14, and his brother Aidan, 12, are picked up from Judson Middle School by their mother in Converse, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Julius Garza, 14, plays a computer game in his bedroom in Converse, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Aidan Garza, 12, looks at his phone at home in Converse, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, eats dinner with her mother in Madison, Illinois, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Brothers Aidan, 12, L, and Julius, 14, R, walk towards Judson Middle School in Converse, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Justice McGowan, 13, accompanies her mother, Dr. Sandra McGowan Watts, to work in Flossmoor, Illinois, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare. Aidan Garza, 12, poses for a portrait holding a photograph of his father, David Garza, who died from the coronavirus in December 2020, in Converse, Texas, Reuters. Callahan O'Hare.